Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to the Meno Lounge. I'm Julie Gordon-White, CEO of MenoWell, Menopause Energy and Protein Bars. We have an incredible guest today. So perfect. You know I love all things fitness, and boy, is she a doozy. But before I bring her up, I want to let you know it's Prime Day, and we had a little glitch on Amazon. But we're working through it. Be resilient. So hop over to our site, mymenowell.com, if you can't find the discount you want on Amazon. And we actually have all the boxes 35% off as a thank you for the inconvenience or convenience. So you can find the discount one way or another. So I am going to bring her up, and I'm not silent glitchy part when somebody's coming up. Hey everybody, super excited to see you. Make sure you drop your questions in the chat. This is going to be a good one. Hey Holly. Oh, are you wearing lavender today, sister? What are we doing? The blue. You're wearing blueberry gray.
There we go.
How are you, Holly Rilinger? How are you?
I am so good. As you know, we launched Menopause Bootcamp last night, and I'm always like reeling when we get all those women going. So yeah,
I'm in
doing
it.
great.
The WhatsApp chat group is on fire in a good way. You know how sometimes like group chats like that can be like, way too much annoying. No, the women are positive, excited, so many good questions. And, Margaret and Penny are nailing everything in the group too. So kudos to you. We haven't even talked about it. Menopause Bootcamp, sorry, you can't join because it's already sold out and closed. But September, right? We'll talk about that.
Yeah, September for sure.
September for sure. So Holly Rilinger, let me think. Former #1 collegiate point guard in America, right? Professional basketball player at 5'4", which says everything about you. And I think that's why when we met in New York at Mary Claire's book celebration, we're like, oh, we're both like the same size. Like, yeah, we're
Exactly.
although you're actually taller than me, but
That's
anywho,
rare. That's rare. I look for
I
people like
know.
you.
Hey, small but mighty. That's what I say. Let's see. Nike master trainer, Red Bull athlete, and spokesperson for Weight Watchers, which I think is very interesting. We'll have to touch on that.
Yeah.
I mean, on. Kinesiologist, 12 certifications in all things, author, speaker. Is there anything that you, and a dog rescuer, right?
That
Straight
for
to your heart.
sure. For sure. That's my passion too.
That's your
Yeah.
passion. I have my Cali Kona right over there, sitting in my meditation chair, rescue from Kona. So
I
we're right
love
there.
that. Yeah, that's great.
Super good. Okay, let's jump into it. I want to, first of all, I love that you talk about the connection between physical and mental, because we're going to talk about lifting with confidence today. And we hear that all the time, lift heavier, lift heavier. And I talk to so many women and they are afraid of that statement. So let's start with the mentality, the mindset of lifting and the connection to physicality, because I think we need to get that right before we can actually go into the big work.
A really good call too, because that's all we're hearing right now is lift heavy. So one part of me is like, yay, finally. But then if you don't lift at all, like how are you supposed to go from that to
Right.
heavy? And we start all of our lifting classes with a meditation, and that comes from me being an athlete, having my busy day going on, going to school, or being in another country, and then being like, boom, I got to go to practice. How do
Right.
I shut that part off, and how do I go in here? And I
Pop
think
in.
it's really important when you train that you give it your entire focus. And that's the only way you're going to build confidence. You're going to have that mind-body connection, so you can actually ask yourself, is this heavy enough? Am I feeling it in the right place? Because I see women come in all the time and they're like, no, 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 no. I'm using eighths. I don't do heavier than that. I'm like, you're in a mindset that's very limiting for yourself right now. I get it. You haven't been shown the way, but let's get in our bodies and understand what it should feel like for a certain rep range and build confidence and knowledge first. And just know that my heavy's not your heavy's not her heavy.
Right. We're not comparing here. It's not
Yeah.
the comparison game. However, when we connect with our mind to our muscle, then we can really know, does this feel good or can I go a little bit more? And also, I think you tell me, you're the expert here, it keeps us safe. It keeps us from getting hurt when we're really connected here and here. Notice I'm doing the bicep because I've really been working on the
Good,
bicep, but yeah.
good. We're gonna have to go sleeveless next IG live after menopause boot
Yes,
camp, right?
yes,
Um,
yes.
yeah, I was training someone today, and they were going heavy on a deadlift, and he said, "Should I go up?" And I was like, "Only I'm just
Mm,
facilitating this. Like,
mm,
you're the only one feeling in your body. Is my form good? Am I in the right spot?" And in all fairness, if you're a brand new beginner, if you're brand new, you're not going to have it yet.
yeah,
Your body's just figuring out movement patterns. You know, your arms are going like this and they're
yeah,
shaky. And so you got to be willing to give it some time so that you can really start to build those neural connections and really understand, oh, I feel that now,
yeah.
you know, and that's important. It's you're running the show. No one can tell you to go heavier, but that requires patience and time.
That's what a pro trainer says, right? It's like you have to decide because you're not in my head, but you're guiding,
Yeah.
right, with your expertise. You brought up a really important word, and that is time, Holly. That we look at women like you, other women that are on, let's just say, Instagram, and they look amazing. Those biceps are popping, the quads are gorgeous. There's even some abs there, even in midlife. And you're like, yes, 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 I want that. I want that. How long does it actually take to really have muscles that show?
Yeah, I mean, number one, it depends on everybody's different.
Yeah.
We all have different DNA profiles. You know, I have people who work so hard and they're just not going to have that six pack. And then I have another person who's kind of genetically blessed in that way. So just know that your body's not going to show the best. It is the same way another person's body is going to show the best. And I always say this a lot, like, people will be like, "Oh man, I'd love to be a pro athlete." And I'm like, "You can't just love that. Like, you got to look at all the sacrifice,
Right,
everything that went into that. And you got to love the process."
right. The
So I
journey.
try to say people like, yeah, you can want that, but let's get you loving the process. Let's get you loving how it feels to have that pump after class or that hunger you get after you work out. Because then, you know, I mean, I would say if you give yourself 3, 4 months of dedicated strength training and a real program, a real nutrition program, you doing all the things, you're gonna see a difference in three
Yeah.
to four months.
3 to 4 months, not 3 to 4 weeks of a
Yeah.
starvation, do too much, way too much cardio, old school 1980s, maybe when you're in your 20s thing. That
Yeah,
probably
you're
worked.
gonna have to break down some belief systems probably. I was born in the 70s and I've gone through even as a trainer, a whole set of belief systems. I over cardioed myself to death.
Mm,
I was a carbophobic
mm,
for the longest time. You
mm,
know, I had all those things, and sometimes when you've spent a lifetime believing those things, it's a very scary step to be like, okay, I'm gonna
right,
eat carbs.
right,
I'm gonna stop doing cardio so much. Like, it's
right.
scary.
Right. Because it worked for you. You did get results by cutting out a whole group, macros group and doing way too much cardio. But especially in midlife, that just doesn't work anymore. It's not even good when you're younger. I have a 25-year-old daughter, and even she tends to like want to do those crazy things. I'm like, whoa, sister, you need the carbs, right? Just are you
Yeah,
are you walking? Are you
yeah.
walking? So no, I think it's a really important thing to note that it does take time, but 3 or 4 months, wow, that's relatively short if
That's
you're
what I have to
committed, if you
say.
think about
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
And it's enough time that you can start to love the process. And I'm not going to say you're going to love all of it. And listen, there are plenty of days I do not want to work out. And it's the last thing I want to do, especially after training everybody else. Like, people are like, you're so lucky you're a trainer. You know, I'm like, I'm
yeah,
not working
really,
out when I train them.
right.
Right. And then I don't want to train. I
Yeah,
want to go home.
yeah.
So, but that's really enough time for you to start to love parts of it. Maybe it's the community
Mm,
like that. You have to look at different angles of how this can become part of you.
I love it. So you're in some ways going the mindset piece because consistency, let's talk about that because I know, and I'm just going to be super honest, I love the feeling. My muscles are very responsive, but I can get so like today's like Amazon Prime. So I got up early to get my workout in before,
Yeah.
and boom, Amazon glitch, whoop, I'm at my desk. So now I've got to get myself all reoriented to get it in later. And to be honest, I don't know if I'm going to. So the consistency, how important is it to be consistent, and how the heck do we do it?
Yeah, I mean, have a schedule for starters, like have a certain set time that you're going to do it each week, but then also know that life happens. So if you're working out Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Wednesday doesn't happen, like you have to take a Saturday then. It's a push pull.
Hmm.
And I also think it's worth mentioning that we're never going to be perfect. So the amount of weeks that you actually have that done, great. But also, there's other things you can focus on. If that's the case, and today you don't get your workout in, can you focus on your nutrition? Can you make sure you get enough protein? Can you maybe sit down for a 10-minute meditation and really like calm your stress levels down, or make sure you get to bed early? Like it's not the end of the world if you don't get that strength training session in, but you don't want to compound it with a bunch of other misses along the way that day as
I
well.
love that. So even if we kind of go off here in one area, we can make up for it, or support in other ways that actually fit into whatever crazy thing that we're doing, right? More steps that day, because I'm probably going to be running up and down my stairs like 100 times today. So
Yeah, and
like,
that's important for your mindset. You're not just saying, okay, I'm not going to do it and that's okay. And you
yeah,
didn't, that happens every week. You're kind of showing to yourself, all right, I didn't get that done, but I'm going to get this in. And that's just important for habit forming.
I love it. Habits are really helpful. Habits are freedom, right? Discipline is freedom. Doesn't feel that way always, but it really is, because you don't have to think about it. Just done.
Yep.
Do it. Okay, let's talk about lifting heavy. So we hear everywhere, my favorite Dr. Vonda Ride, lift heavy, no mamsy pamsy, pink dumbbells. I
Yeah.
love Vonda's our size too, right? We're all in the like 5-ish category. So lifting heavy. Let's talk about, from somebody who's just getting started in midlife, they're excited. What does that mean? Where should they start?
Yeah, that's a great question. So you first of all find a program. Like in Menopause Boot Camp, we're going to teach people about programs. If you have a great program, you're going to be doing probably the same thing each week for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So that, let's just say it's 3 sets of 10. That's kind of the theme of your workouts. Well, then you can see how that 10 reps felt. I like to say if you have more than 3 or 4 reps in the bank when you're done with that 10, it was too light. And a lot of programs
Mm,
you'll see 8 to 10 reps. If you can get 10, you should go up in weight a little bit. But if you can't get to 8, that's not heavy enough. So it's really about that rep range. Without that rep range, who knows what's too heavy?
right.
Is 20 heavy? And that's what people, what I say, when if I say grab a 20 and people are like, ooh, that's too heavy, I was like, I haven't even told you what we're doing. Like, it
It could
might be too
be
heavy for a
three
bicep
things and
curl,
fun.
but
Yeah,
what if I'm going to
yeah.
ask you to like goblet squat that and you're going to do it no problem? So it depends on what exercise you're doing, and it depends on how many reps you're doing. And it also depends where in the workout it is. Like if we've already
Mm,
done, if it's the fourth round, you may not have as much energy in the bank. So it's all about that moment, that rep range. Can I get 3 or 4 more reps than I'm supposed to? If I can, it's too light.
that's such a great indicator. Know your own body, how you feel. Can you go one more, two more, three more, or not? Right. And adjust from there. Um, what was I going to ask you about that? So, um, loading. So when you're doing your sets, should we do, had different workouts where the weight gets heavier the more, later in the sets, or you start out heavy and then you decrease. What do you think about that?
Listen, it all depends on the program. Um, Going heavy and decreasing would be like a drop set where you're trying to really
Drop set.
fatigue the muscle. And if that's your goal, then you're doing it right. I think a more traditional way of programming would be 3 sets of 10, 4 sets of 8, 5 sets of 5. And if you see those correlate, I'm doing less sets, the higher amount of reps. So like 3 sets of 15,
Mm,
right? Because they're high reps.
right, right.
But if I'm doing a lower set, like I'm only doing 5, I'm going to do 5 rounds of that so I can rest in between. And typically, if you're in that kind of format, you're going to use that first set to see, okay, was that the right weight? Before I go back to it, did
Yeah.
I have more, you know, reps in the bank, and
Mhm.
then that second set you should go up. But let's just say you're doing a chest press, you got your 25s, and you're like 15. You're in the right range. You don't need to go up in
Yeah.
weight. So again,
You're
there's
supposed to
no
make that face at the end. That's how you know you're doing it right. If it's just like, no more, like the ugly face, you're good.
exactly.
Okay. All right. So, all right. So sticking with that, because that was always confusing to me. Changing the weights. Plus, I'm a little schleppy. And so like picking up the different weight, putting it down. Oh my
You got
God.
to
That's just like,
schlep, man. You got to be down with the schlep.
yeah, you do. Okay. Get them.
Yeah, and
Lay them
like
out. All right.
we have a strength lab now in East Hampton. We run classes upstairs and we have squat racks downstairs, and we're putting a lot of women under the barbell, back squatting, deadlifting. And a lot of times, which I love, women are like, they're great with each other. Like, do you want to go up 5 pounds? I'm like, it doesn't matter what she wants. You don't have to lift the
Like,
same weight.
you go
Do
first.
you
Yeah.
want to go up in 5 pounds? And I'm like, this is not a collaborative. I love it. I love that you guys are like doing this together, but you need to decide if it's right for you.
Like, should
And
we?
it's a process of putting it on and taking it off. And it's
Yeah.
just, that's what you got to get into. And that's kind of enjoying the process of being like, oh, I bet I can use 5 pounds
Well,
heavier. Let me walk to the rack and get them.
you made me think about that in working out at home versus in the gym. So when you work out at home, less intimidating. Maybe you have your dumbbells set up. I have dumbbells, bench, and a stationary cycle. Um, but I probably am not pushing myself hard enough at home. But going to the gym and racking it all up, I'm like, hey, that's feels intimidating. So how
Yeah.
do we move through that? And do you think we can get a better workout in a gym? Not that you can't get a good workout at home, but a better workout in a gym.
Okay. I do think that you can definitely get a great workout at home. Again, if you follow the process and you're really pushing yourself. The only reason I say, especially women in the middle of their life, can get a better workout in a gym is because there's a lot of machines to work with.
Mm,
Someone who has osteoporosis, for example, if I can get them on a seated chest press where they have their back stabilized and they're pressing, or they're pulling, or they're seated and they're doing a leg press, they may be able to build strength far more easily than if I'm having them do dumbbell work
mm,
only. So it's
mm.
just like having access to a lot more toys, a lot more ways to get you strong. So I would say that's the only thing. As for not pushing yourself hard enough, I do think it's true. People say, "Oh my God, when I come here, I know you're watching me." Or if you have a trainer who's saying, "Are you sure?" Like, I will literally go up to someone in class and be like, "Looks light,
Ooh, is that what you say?
looks
Looks
light,"
light.
and they're like, "I know."
I'm gonna keep that in my ear when
Yeah,
I'm working out. Even if it's not, I'm just looks like that. Holly's telling me that. And like, can I just go up, just to the next one to
you
try?
got to
Don't be a
ask yourself. You got to ask yourself that constantly. Can I go up? And a lot of times, except for a deadlift, a lot of times, like let's just say bicep curl. Here's what too heavy looks like.
yeah.
It's just not going anywhere.
When you're leaving, you're
Eh,
pulling your whole body back
There's
trying to get it
not
up. Okay.
there's not a lot that's going to happen to you, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Um, so you can take a chance on just a small increment, and if you're shooting to get 10 reps and you only get 6, it's fine. You tried, now you know where your
Yeah.
bar is, and that's important information.
And it does feel good when you go to the next level. It feels yes,
It
I
is.
did it. I did it. And
Julie, we
that's
have
where
a
the
bell that
confidence
we
comes
ring
in.
in our studio. We have a bell that we ring. Actually, Margaret gifted it to me because I'd been talking about it a lot for a long time. So if someone goes up to the rack and grabs a heavier pair of dumbbells, we ring the bell like a tip
Yeah.
bell in like a bar. So
Yeah. I'm going to put one in my pocket
ring your
and ring
bell,
my own bell at the gym. You're like, what the hell?
please do, and film it.
I'm like,
Just go
what? I
go
moved
ring your
up.
bell.
I'll ring it for you too. Just tell me. Okay. Quick part about time between sets. So I tend to be the speed demon in the gym. Like I got to get in, I got to do the workout, I got to get. And then plus my heart rate goes up because my watch is telling me that. And I feel like I'm burning fat. So
Yeah.
set me straight here. So I'm going to pretty quickly, 35 minutes when I probably am not resting enough in between sets. What do you
Again,
think?
this is one of those habits that you've got to, that are probably ingrained in you. I can think of three specific people, and if they're listening right now, they're probably saying, that's
That
me.
means me.
I'm like, they'll be in the corner doing biceps curls. I'm like, put them down, sit down, rest. So if you're lifting heavier weights, listen, if you're in a HIIT class, that's what you're doing. You're moving, no rest, no rest. That's the methodology. All
Mhm.
right. And a lot of times with that, it's kind of more like zone two cardio. Like you're getting your heart rate up, it's staying up for a
Right,
long time. But when we
right.
talk about building muscle, we want to stress the muscle a
Mm.
lot more. We want to tax your central nervous system. So let's just use the absolute opposite example. We're doing a heavy back squat. We're doing 5 reps.
Okay.
You're doing 120 pounds, let's say, or even 95 pounds, whatever. You're up and down, you rack it. You should be a little bit breathless. All right. Now, for something that big, we're resting like 90 seconds. And even as a young trainer, I would be like, oh, I feel like they're paying me so much money an hour. I feel like I'm wasting their time. You're not. Like, you got to understand that for you to recover, for your central nervous system to recover from that set and do it again, you're going to need that much time. If you don't, you're going to go in there and you're either not going to do it well, you might hurt yourself, or you're not going to be able to progress the way that you need to progress to actually build muscle. Progressive
Perfect.
overload. And that's what you're hearing people talk about. That's progressively adding more weight over time. You don't rest, you're going to hit this place. You're going to kind of stall out right in this middle place because you're just not resting.
Okay, so now I'm going to add that. So, am I lifting heavy enough? And I bring my bell and rest. Put the weights down.
Yeah, I need you to film me
Oh,
and check
damn,
back in.
damn.
Film yourself and check back in.
I shouldn't have confessed. All right. So, and also, is an indicator if you can go that fast through your exercises, does that mean that the weight's not heavy enough?
Probably.
Mm.
Yeah. That's something when I look around in class, I can see, let's say we're doing a 1 arm row. By the speed that arm is moving, I can look around the room and I know exactly who's not lifting heavy
Yeah.
enough. And remember, it's called resistance training. You've got to have something that's pulling you. Like
Mm.
it's got to feel like actual resistance. And if it's just moving like this, there's not enough
Not enough.
resistance because you want to break down that muscle fiber. You want to damage it, and it's not enough to damage it.
I
Yeah.
love that. That is an excellent signal. If there isn't enough resistance, you're not going to get the result. Period.
Yep.
Okay. So good. Let's see. Ollie Cassie says, "Love me some Vonda." Yes, we do too. Okay. And then soup. Our Jackie, did I get that right? Loved Menopause Boot Camp. There's one of your Menopause Boot Campers.
Yeah.
And by the way, Holly, I would have looked at the whole thing, but yesterday at the opening session, you said don't binge
Don't,
on it. So I'm
don't
trying
binge.
to. I'm
Don't
trying
binge.
because I am a binger,
I,
100%.
I
But I'm.
know. I know. We are too. We like to binge. Like it's hard to wait every
It's
week for
the
that next episode.
achiever in me. Like I need to see the whole thing ahead of time, and like, okay, get in your
Yeah, and to
body.
answer, I know Zaya or Zia, you've been asking how much. It's $99. Just kind of, we'll skip ahead right there
Good.
because I know someone's been asking.
Good.
Um,
Tell
but
us about it while we're talking about it, and then we're going to circle back to recovery and nutrition.
yeah, so um, the reason I started Menopause Boot Camp is because I saw so many women afraid to lift and actually right now finally accepting it and having a sense of interest, but being like, where do I start? Just like we're talking about today. So Menopause Boot Camp is a completely virtual program. So you can be anywhere. We have 10 different countries, 17 different states right now. Really exciting. We have 3 live sessions throughout these 2 weeks. And then everything else, you're just doing it on demand. You're doing one lesson a day. We've paced it at a pace that we feel like is very digestible for people. We cover what do you need at home to get started? Because I know a lot of people, there's an intimidation factor. It's much easier to start at home,
Right.
figure it out. You don't feel like you have eyes on you. I know how that feels.
Right.
Um, for me, it's not strength training. It'd be more like yoga or something else. So um, we teach you about mobility. We teach you about the role protein plays in building muscle. We teach you modifications. If you have osteoporosis or osteopenia, what should you be aware of? Maybe what should you stay
Huge.
away from?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a interview with Dr. Mary Claire Haver that we did in our living room in New York, and she talks about a lot of questions that are out there about HRT. And we have a great community. We have people that are we've provided a space, we believe, where people can really ask questions and not feel stupid or feel intimidated. Um, and then in this, we have one live stream class together where it's kind of like game time. We get to put everything we practice into action. So we really feel like, at least for phase one, we're now thinking of filming Menopause Bootcamp phase two that'll include stuff like tempo, the role creatine plays, what are BCAAs, should I take them? How do I build my own program? How much rest should I have between
I
sets?
know.
This is
Yeah.
the basics, and then we'll move from there. And I actually called a lot of my friends in the middle of the country. By the way, I'm a Midwesterner at heart. I grew up there. But when you live in New York for 20 years, you kind of have you're not sure what's a good price anymore because you're so used to paying crazy prices for everything.
Crazy, right?
And we did really feel like $99 for all this information was something that would give a lot of people access. And that was really important to us. We
Well,
want
can I tell
everybody to
you,
do it.
Holly, the value, $99, it's be 10 times that. Because even if you have been lifting for a while, if you're not getting the results, it's because you're missing something that Holly's teaching in the program. And that's really, I mean, besides I want to know what you were doing and I love you and all that good stuff. But I know that I am not as effective in my workouts as I should be because skimming off the top, right? How hard can it be? Just lift this weight, this or that. And so if you are kind of on the fence around that, the $99 is nothing compared to the value that you're going to get over the lifetime of starting really with the skills that you need to do it well and safely. So I think it's invaluable.
Thank you.
So
And
yeah,
not, and maybe learning to decipher moving forward what is worth your money
yeah,
and not, because I know plenty of people who have bought things and been like, I was like, oh, you shouldn't have bought that. That was
right.
a waste of your money,
Mm.
or this program or that program. So I think it'll
Hmm.
help. You'll know now. You'll have a
Hmm.
sense of knowing where you should go next, and we also help you, guide you as to what you should do after um, that menopause boot camp.
A lot of women do things like beach body and stuff like that. And I still think that this is an important class for you to take because you could still be doing some other program and not be using the right technique and not wondering why you're not getting the results. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
So
we really slow it down, and some of the feedback we've gotten, which is just music to my ears, is that I break it down in a way that's super clear. Like people who have even been squatting or deadlifting have said, I've never heard it said that way, and that little change made me feel it for
yeah,
the first time exactly where I should feel it. And that's the thing with strength training. It's very form intensive. You could do one little thing differently. Like you rotate your shoulders out and you're like, oh, I've never felt that before.
right,
And that's the beauty of learning at a slow pace rather than just going to a program like Peloton or Beachbody where you jump right in.
right. Absolutely. Okay, so we're now talking about lifting heavy, why it's important. Let's talk about recovery. And so I tend to do 3 full body workouts during the week because I know if I miss one, then at least I got full body in and I wasn't just doing, leg day, push pull legs. And then I'm like, oh, now I don't get to pull for 2 weeks or something like that.
Right.
So with that, I now can recover better. Before, I wasn't recovering very well. So, and when you're in midlife, is recovery different? How should we be doing that? Because it's not fun to be so sore and so tired, and then you don't want to work
Yeah.
out again.
Yeah. Couple things here. Number one, you are going to be so sore when you get started, no matter what. And then that so sore is hard to come by. I actually wish I could get so sore just now and again.
Wait,
Like
wait.
you'll,
Let's
my,
just drop that. That's a mindset thing. That's so good. I can't wait until I can't get sore anymore. That is beautiful.
yeah.
I
I
love
mean,
it.
sometimes I wake up and I'm like, oh God, I think I feel it coming on, and I'm like, yeah. Like I miss it. I miss getting like debilitatingly sore. I know maybe I'm a little weird, but you won't get that sore as often anymore. So that's first and foremost. And yes, as we get older, our body just does not recover. Jamie,
What did Jamie say?
Jamie, Jamie from the Pause Life.
Yeah.
She's doing my one-on-one coaching program, and she texted me. She was like, I'm so sore I can't sit down.
I
And
can't
I'm
get to
like,
the bottom of the list fast enough to see Jamie's. Okay.
yeah.
I was like waving at everybody here. I can't get there. All right. So Jamie, that question was for
Jamie got
you. I
it.
must have felt it.
She
Okay.
got it. She got it.
It's like,
Um, so yeah,
so
as we
good.
get older, it takes more time for us to recover. It's really creatine is a great supplement to have. It's going to help you recover. It's going to help you build muscle. BCAAs, also branched chain amino acids. These are things that you can use in your 20s also, but they become more important as you get older and you want to recover. Quality of sleep, and we could tie that all into HRT. As you go through menopause, your sleep patterns can be disrupted. If you're not getting that sleep where your body's supposed to be recovering, then you're gonna suffer. You're not gonna have the desire to get back there. And just remember, and again, this is a hard thing to wrap your head around because we were talking about go, 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 no rest. When you tear the muscle fibers down, it's in a broken state. That's what we're shooting to do.
Right.
But then we give it the protein, we give it the fuel it needs to rebuild, and it can't rebuild without resting.
Mhm.
So if you're constantly in that broken down state and you're never getting that, then you're missing a whole part of this whole process. So that's why I call sleep the unsung hero of fitness. Like, it is so important to sleep, manage your stress, like all the things that are going to help support all that hard work you put in. And nobody wants to put that hard work in for nothing. Like, to think that all that hard work didn't really do much because you're missing part of it is like,
Right.
hurts. It hurts in
And
the heart.
a lot of women talk about working out and not seeing any results, even if they are lifting heavy. And it's probably because they are not getting enough rest, recovery, sleep, all those things. So because when you're tearing, something has to recover. That is actually what the muscle is the
Yeah.
recovery, right?
Yep.
So really good. Okay, so you already stepped into, you said the P word, protein. All right, so we do your workout. When should we have our protein? Before, after? A lot of women eat a MenoWell bar as pre-workout.
Yeah.
Had some good, but what about that post to get that big protein load?
Yeah, so science is telling us something different now than it did maybe 10 years ago. We used to believe there was this very important window. Like, if you didn't get that protein in that window, that
30
2 hour
minutes
window, that your body
to,
wasn't going to use it the way it should. The truth is, if you get 100 grams of protein in every day, you're getting it at the right time. It's not as important. And as far as pre-post workout is concerned, the pre part is really personalized. Like, there's some people who are just not going to be able to tolerate
any
some foods or any food, maybe
yeah.
just caffeine, or you got to kind of experiment with that. Like,
Mhm.
in my younger days, I used to be able to eat like an egg sandwich and then go in and like crush a spin
Yeah.
glass, and I'm just like, whoa, like,
Oh, no, no,
you know,
no. Yeah.
but now, like, to me, I do like kind of a fast acting carb or a banana or something. Like, it's great to have a little protein pre if you can handle it. I actually think the MenoWell bar would be really good for that because you're going to get some fast digesting carbs. You're going to get a little bit of protein. It's quick. It's easy. You can take it with you. So I like that. Because there's also nothing more. It's nothing worse than being starving right as you begin your workout
Well,
as
and
well.
you can't, like you said, I used to always work out fasted, but now I find that I actually have a half a bar because that's enough for me to have a little energy. I used to be a runner and I'd always have um, like a banana with peanut butter on it. That worked
Yeah.
really well for me. And but to have something, otherwise I'll just bonk. I need a little bit of energy to get my best workout. So, but you have to
Yeah,
figure
and,
it out for
and
yourself.
remember, the point of that pre-workout is to fuel you for your workout, make you feel good for that workout. So don't think of it as a formula so much or like an assignment. Think of it as an experiment. How's my energy level? How's my stomach as I begin? How's my energy? How's my energy level at the end?
Yeah.
And then you can start to play with things that make sense for you. And when you find it, keep it. If you can keep it, just do it.
I love that. But it always goes back to your individual experience at the end of the
Yeah.
day, right? Like, how does your body feel? But we have to be careful not to trick ourselves because we can definitely convince ourselves of things that may or may not be true.
Absolutely. The truth of the matter is we are all human beings. We do have the same musculature, the same skeletal system. We have all these things. But yeah, we do have different metabolisms and things work differently for some people. But there are certain truths like heavy weight training, having protein, getting sleep, And you're right. Some people trick themselves and saying, well, my body just doesn't react to that. And then you dive deep and say, well, what are you doing? And if you're not checking all those boxes, then you're not actually doing the things that work for all bodies.
Right. I love that. Yeah, we have to listen to ourselves, but also check ourselves a
Mm-hmm.
little bit there. So, okay, Holly, how about some tips? I know we talked about so many tips. We probably have gone through all in tips, but do you have any rapid fire tips that you might want to share with everybody today?
I do. I have 5 actually because I am a
Let's do
rule
it.
follower.
Now you're telling my secrets. Okay, bring 5 tips. I know you are. You're disciplined. Okay,
I
hit it.
am.
Go.
My partner is not. Like I'll be like, don't cross the road right there. It's not a crosswalk.
Jennifer's like, I'm going.
No,
Okay. What? Don't tell me what to
looks
do.
she looks for rules to break. Not kidding. It's very uncomfortable for me.
That's why you're
Okay.
together. Right. Okay.
So my 5 tips for anybody in the middle of their life looking to build muscle, looking to train. Number 1 is hire a professional. Find someone that you can rely on and learn from so that you don't have to worry. It's going to instill confidence in you just knowing that they're there. Number 2, look for a community you can build around you because that's really powerful. It might be a virtual community. It might be a workout buddy. It might be your partner, but find somebody that can support you in this journey because you're going to need to lean on them from time to time. Number 3, start slow. This is not a race. Like, I think people are always looking for this quick fix. And if you don't get those results in a couple weeks, you're like, oh God, it's not here. This is something you want to build for the rest of your life. So start slow, build a solid foundation, and then you're really going to start to see the results that you want to see. Number 4, lean on science. There's a lot of stuff out there. There's a lot of gimmicky stuff. There's a lot of long, lean lines and these things that look really sexy and really inviting. Dial into the science. Look for trainers who are talking about studies that are backed by science. Look for the things that work. It's not always going to be the sexiest thing. It's going to be the things that are tried and true and they're working.
Mm-hmm.
And then lastly, be resilient, be open, and be patient because it's not always at the first time it's going to work. You might have to tweak a few things. You might have to change your diet. You might have to add another session. Your body is not going to just say, hey, that's it. And it's going to work right away every time. So be all those things. And then you're going to set yourself up for success.
I love that. And so whoever's watching, go back in the recording and go right to this spot because that's everything in a nutshell. That's so beautiful. And patience. Dang it. What? That's always my thing. I'm not so patient, Holly.
Patience is key. Before we go, I just don't want to answer. I've seen people asking
Yeah.
this a few times
Keep
through and
going. Yeah.
through.
What do you see?
Menopause Bootcamp is $99. It's a 1-month program. So it's for 1 month. So it's not a reoccurring monthly thing. One time you get in the program, it's $99. I think her name's Zia. She's like, somebody please answer my question.
Somebody help me.
Is it
Yes.
annual? Is it this? And then if that seems too remedial for you, like, oh, I know what I'm doing. I just needed guidance. Use the link in my bio for one-on-one coaching. I'm coaching Dr. Mary Claire right now. I'm coaching Jamie. I'm coaching Dr. Corinne Men. I'm getting all these doctors in shape. You're next,
All the
Jamie. You're
menopause.
next. You're
Yes.
next.
Good.
Okay. You're
I'm
next,
in.
Julie.
I'm in.
So if you want to get on that though, there's a link in my bio. You can set up a short call with me and I can show you what that's all about as well.
Really good. And if they do want to sign up for the boot camp, the next boot camp is in September, correct?
Yeah, but you can go
So
to our
get
website now. You can put your email address in and then you'll be the first to know. So when that becomes available, which is going to be before September, we want to go ahead and help people start planning. Because I know that, you're in summer now and it's nice to have something to look forward to. So
yeah,
if you go to our website now, you can go in, put your email address in, and we'll have you there ready to sign up for it in September.
so good. And there are your 5 favorite leg exercises. And by the way, I love that you call them exercises. To me, that's just a window into your mindset because you don't say this is workout, you say exercises. And that's what all these things are. They are exercises that we put together to achieve a specific result. So I love those leg exercises because those leg muscles They
Oh,
burn, baby.
the
That's where all the
important
good stuff
ones.
happens.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I love it. So
Right.
go there and get those, get on the list. And then if you're all about it, make sure you book a call with Holly. So good. Last question. What does MenoWell mean to you?
Oh, I like it. For me, as a trainer, for the longest time, I had this fear looming over me that I would become insignificant and when I hit a certain age. And instead, I look at it as a time in my life where everything is better. Like,
Mm,
I know who I am. I have my finances in a place where I can live my life rather than being in my 20s and just figuring stuff out. I have a partner. I have 3 rescue animals. Like, I'm in such a great place. And now to know that I don't have to have this fear that my body's just going to, you know, putter out, or you're just going to go through the change. Like, how
yeah,
many times have we heard an older person say that? And I was like, what?
right.
Oh my God. Then
Wanted.
what? So
Right.
for me, it's like, no, this is one of the most well parts of your
Yeah.
life. Like everything holistically, you're going to be okay. In fact, it's going to be better than
Could
okay.
be better. Yeah. I love that so much. Beautiful. Holly, where should people follow you? And let's just give them the website address one more time.
Yeah, it's theliftedmethod.com. I think Jenna Ford, my partner's right there. She'll drop it in there. It's the liftedmethod.com. You can find everything on there, including Menopause Boot Camp, our virtual training programs. Everything is right there. And we'd love to have you join us soon.
Please do. And follow Holly on Instagram so you get all the goodness in between. Really
Yeah,
good.
and go get some MenoWell bars. It's a special. What's your
Oh,
special
yeah.
today on?
Oh, on our site,
Yeah,
35%
that's a
off
lot.
because Amazon, I don't know, they didn't like our coupon. So some of the bars have 30% off on Amazon. So if you want to check there, but go on our site,
That's
35%. So
big. That's a
load
big
up.
number.
Big number. Okay, thank you for being here. I
Oh,
have to
thank you
go
so
because I
much.
have to go do my Tuesday program in the Lifted Method Menopause Boot
Yes,
Camp
you
because I haven't done it yet.
do. Go get it
So
done.
I'll do it and I'll see you in the chat and I'll tell everybody how great it was. So
Thank you.
thank you, Holly.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Julie.
Be well,
Bye.
everyone. Take care. Bye bye.